everyone. Welcome back to another episode of MRANTI Tidbits podcast. So for those who are new here, this is our platform on where we delve into exciting world of technology and its impact on enterprises in Malaysia. So today I'm particularly excited because it's on a topic that I think is quite new and fresh, especially to me in the Gen Zs. So we are going to talk about the highly anticipated deployment of 5G technology in Malaysia. So this is where we kind of explore the potential benefits or even challenges surrounding the revolutionary advancement of 5G in Malaysia. So I am Munna Ursulina, the social media girl here in MRANTI. And today I have two very special guests with me. Super smart and sleek and suave gentlemen here. So first off, we have Mr. Muhundhan, who is the Chief Digital Officer here in MRANTI. We also have Mr. Afrizal Rahim, who is the Head of Government and Industry Relations of Ericsson Malaysia. All right, so maybe I'll pass the floor on to Mr. Muhu first for you to kind of speak a bit about yourself and what you do here at MRANTI Park.
Hi, thank you, Muna, and hi, everyone. So my name is Muhundhan Kamarapullai. I'm better known as Muhu. I'm the Chief Digital Officer of MRANTI. So my primary role is to ensure that we have the right technology environment for the park to ensure that the innovators get the right support. I also look into the requirements, the technological requirements from MRANTI itself in terms of all the systems and everything. Yeah.
Very nice. And for you, Mr. Afrizal?
Thanks, Muna. Of course, I'm Afrizal, working with Ericsson for the last 18 years.
Wow.
I've been doing government and industry relations for the last 6 to 7 years. Okay. Before that, I was actually doing research for both consumer and industry for the region. And of course, when it comes to my current role, I basically look at how do I promote and accelerate 5G in Malaysia and new technology in Malaysia. So I work with government agencies and ministries. I work with government agencies such as MRANTI. And of course, I work with different industry partners as well to see how we can create collaboration to encourage the adoption of 5G in Malaysia and other new technologies.
Okay, you see there, we already have one keyword in common, accelerate. Correct. Okay, so to start things off, we kind of have to pause a bit because you have to educate me on 5G. I mean, being a Gen Z, I kind of had it all given to me with the newer technology. So, if the age is not showing. So please educate me a bit on 5G and what it is, what it means, 5G technology in Malaysia. So either one of you would like to pick this up, go right ahead.
You want to start first?
Okay, I think 5G is sort of the flavor of the year. Everybody talks about it.
Oh, wow.
But at the same time, I think people are also figuring out whether this is something for me, But I think the way I look at 5G, it's basically it's a connectivity, right? So in any technological environment, you always have the hardware, the software, and for this to work, you would have to have some connectivity, right? Different kinds of connectivity. You can have it wired or you can have it wireless. So 5G is a 5th generation mobile network, which allows us to do fantastic stuff. And, if I can backtrack a bit to understand 5G, maybe you want to know what's 4G, 3G, right?
Sure.
What is 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? Not being able to understand that, probably then 5G is just another connectivity. So I always like to go back to the simple things that we understand, which is actually the phone, right? All of us use handphone.
Right.
Our parents used it. Our grandparents may have not, but there was certain generation usage of handphone. So when you look at those days, you used to have these big bulky phones, which we call it the GSM phones, and they were like huge. You can just throw and kill someone with it, and that's when that was the first G came in, which was very much just voice, right? So you can do voice. Then later we came up with something a bit more slick. The Nokia phones came in. Someone was maybe familiar with that, where it had 2G connectivity, where you could probably then do voice and maybe send messages. That became kind of a bit of exciting, a bit of a backstory there as well. So I think that was, so you probably know my age already. So when we were studying, that's when the 2G phones were introduced, and there was a mobile network in Malaysia who was pretty smart at that time, who combined the Nokia phones and very, very affordable subscription, where which students could just take it and pay. It was like maybe less than 10 ringgit a month and all that. But the interesting thing was the usage of it, which, probably I'm not going to encourage it, but that's the actual fact happened. I didn't dare to do it. But a lot of the students were actually using the phone because of the SMS capabilities. They were able to provide those informations during exams and during times where they were not supposed to be.
Censorship.
Right? So that actually happened. So the usage of it was interesting because the connectivity was available. And fast forward 3G was when iPhone was introduced during 2G. But in 3G, where the capabilities of internet connectivity came in. And then we started using iPhone 2 especially, that the second generation became super famous because then you basically can do a lot of stuff, not just connectivity, not just SMS, but you can also do a bit more.
Yep.
Now, 4G basically was a game changer. When 4G came, the app economy developed. That's when just beyond emails, beyond just internet, you now have the apps who could basically do a lot more things, get you more connected, right? And of course, we're not talking about all the other technologies such as from vision perspective, for example, right? Then you could do HD. With HD, you can do streaming, came into picture. So what's the difference to me? What's the difference between 4G and 5G? It's actually these three different things. One is what we call the bandwidth or the pipe. Just imagine the pipe is for 4G perhaps like this. Now with 5G, the pipe is much, much bigger, right? That's one key thing. The second thing is that in terms of the information that's traveling between devices, because from 4G onwards, we had the internet of the world, right? We had all the machines now are connected to each other, right? With 5G, you need this connectivity to be much, much stronger, right? So now you need the information to be transferred to be much faster between machines or between the user and the machine. So that now has improved a lot from 4G, which it takes about 40 milliseconds, 40 to 60 milliseconds. 5G can do it in 5 milliseconds, right? So
even less.
Or even less, right?
Super
So
speed.
imagine if a doctor today in remote surgery is operating on you somewhere else. When he moves his needle, that needle better move on you.
Okay, now I'm scared.
Right?
Sir,
But
5G
5G
on surgery? Ooh.
right? Because we'll talk a bit more later on.
Yeah,
But that's the thing. And the last one is the reliability. Having a much strong network, that you have more reliability, you can ensure that, especially if you're on a mission critical work, this thing makes a lot of sense. So to me, that's the difference. So if the things that we do involves in these three things, if we need a bigger pipe, or if we're working on something which we require that kind of information, or we need a more reliable thing, which I think in the future all of us would need, or maybe we're already needing it, then 5G will make a lot of sense, has got a lot of opportunity. There are about close to 2 billion people subscription now, right? So it's not really something new.
Yeah.
It's already being adopted, but it's just, of course, it is now growing even much faster.
Right.
It took 5G about 3.5 years only to reach 1 billion user, where 4G took about 4 years and 3G took about 12 years.
Okay.
So you can see the impact. It's already happening. We may not see it yet,
Yeah.
but it's already happening in the background.
Yeah,
Very
I think
nice.
Muhu covered a lot of the part, but I think what I want to stress is that when it comes to 3G to 4G, it was an incremental change. But when it comes to 4G to 5, it becomes a game changer. And of course, it's not just another G. I think there's a lot of people that have heard about 5G but don't fully understand it, because I think it will entirely change what we can do when it comes to mobile connectivity. We believe that 5G is an innovation platform,
Yeah.
and it's only limited to our own imagination. So I think when it comes to Ericsson, we are a global leader when it comes to 5G. We have actually delivered 5G in more than 140 live networks in 63 countries. And of course, if we look at 5G, we are at the forefront when it comes to 5G. And we are the first company to actually enable 5G in 5 continents. So, of course, if you look at what we are doing here in Malaysia, we are actually delivering a world-class 5G experience in Malaysia.
Nice.
So, I can share a bit more later
Okay.
that the speed in Malaysia is actually tremendous.
Oh,
Good
there
news.
we go. There we have it. So we've heard about what is it? 2G, 3G, 4G, now 5G, and then we have here OGs. Okay, so now we kind of know that Malaysia is starting to adopt this. So how is this a game changer for enterprise? Maybe like from the industry itself, like how can this be a game changer on a business scale, enterprise scale, industry scale? Because Mr. Muhu, you did say that, you kind of need the 5G in order for you to kind of, for the bandwidth actually. That's why we truly need it in the industry. So how can, enterprises benefit from 5G adoption?
I think if we look back at what happened during COVID, we realized that there's a need for us to change in Malaysia.
Yeah, correct.
And across the globe. So I think that with 5G now, it creates an opportunity for us to start thinking, how can we make things future-proof? We don't know what might happen in the future, but now we have the opportunity to start thinking in terms of how can we leverage on 5G. So of course, we can see there are a few basic things that we can do with 5G, starting with enhanced mobile experience. Today, we leverage on 5G and 4G and previous generation for different types of data connectivity. So with 5G, it's not just about the speed that who mentioned, it's also about the latency, real-time communication. So for real-time activities, it could be doing activities such as remote control of machines. I can be a specialist in one country controlling an equipment in another country. It can be a crane, it can be a machine.
Nice.
That can be one opportunity that we can look at. And if we move that to healthcare as well, it can be something like remote surgery. A specialist can be in one part of Malaysia. The patient can be in another part of Malaysia. So I think the opportunity are tremendous. And of course, when it comes to Internet of Things, today phones are connected. A lot of different devices in home are connected.
Yeah.
A lot of different devices in the office will also be connected. I think there's a lot of different things that will be connected that will allow us to improve productivity and of course improve the way that we do business as well. First is all about operational efficiency, but later on it's about how you transform your business. If we look at the situation that we have in Malaysia, a lot of industry rely on foreign workers. Is that sustainable? Maybe not. And how do we prepare for changes in Malaysia? So 5G connectivity will be one of the enablers that can help Malaysia to prepare for that.
Wow, that's nice. I can see it. I can imagine it. I'm on my way to the office, and then I'll turn on my coffee machine at the office. Remotely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in addition to what Afrizal was saying, so going back to the three key things that makes the difference, right? The bandwidth, the what we call latency, that means information transferring from one device to the others, and the reliability. So you're absolutely right. The key benefits are a lot within the industry, right? The importance of this. It's just beyond just for you and me. Of course, we will benefit from it from many different things, but we see a lot of benefit from the industrial application of 5G, and that's going to be the game changer. And as mentioned by Afrizal as well, many different industry. For example, the oil and gas industry, right? They have already been doing this. Of course, we don't know much about it. Right? It's of course always kept under the wraps because that's their business model. But for example, going to oil rigs, right? So there are already technologies where they use drones to go and do surveillance, right? You don't need to have people there. It's a very high risk environment. And that's when 5G connectivity comes into play because they need high definition videos. And these videos would need to be sent almost real time back to the command center. And so 5G makes a lot of sense. And third is it's reliable, right? So it goes back to the three things. You need a bigger pipe for industry because you need to send more information. You need this information to move very fast, right? If you're using drones or even autonomous vehicle. And then also you need the reliability.
Right. So, okay. Sorry, tapping back to you, Mr. Afrizal. So, you said that Ericsson has kind of, they're leading, 5G in a few countries as well. So, would that be our neighboring countries as well around Southeast Asia? And are there any successful use cases of how technology has advanced through 5G in our neighboring countries?
Sure. I think if you look at one of the leading markets in this region, in Singapore.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we are spotting the leading operator there when it comes to 5G.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, today, if you look at Singapore, they have 95% population coverage with 5G standalone. So today, what we are delivering in Malaysia is non-standalone. So what's the difference between non-standalone and standalone? Non-standalone, you basically still leverage on 4G as the anchor band, but when you move to standalone, it's fully 5G. And of course, what's the difference? It would deliver even better latency and even better upload experience. That's where you can actually start doing things such as network slicing. It's a technical term, but what does it mean? It's basically in the network you create a special lane for different types of activity.
Oh.
So it's like going to the theme park. You have the special lane for those that pay more, right?
VIP
I'd like to be
passes.
there.
Yes.
I'd like to be in that one.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you're doing things such as WhatsApp, basic stuff, maybe you don't need the special lane.
Okay.
But imagine if you are doing something that is more critical. For instance, if you were to do some from a healthcare perspective, things such as that requires instant connectivity, that's where you consider this. And moving to enterprise manufacturing, things that requires real-time communication and more security, this is the type of application that we can consider. And of course, if we look at entertainment, things like gaming, you want the best experience, or even broadcasting. I think one example that was done by our partner or our customer, this was in the UK. It was a work that we did with Vodafone. I'm pretty sure a lot of you seen the broadcast of the King's coronation.
Yeah.
So it was that one of the work that was done there was a 5G broadcast using network slicing.
Oh.
That's one of the things that we can actually start thinking about to do if we start moving towards 5G SA. We have 5G NSA today in Malaysia. I think it was mentioned by Wabi Fahmi that we have reached 61.2%.
Very nice.
And we only started in 2021. Now
Yeah.
in 2023, we have reached 61.2%. The target initially was 80% by next year, but the government has decided let's move it to the end of this year.
Ooh, no pressure, guys. All right. So speaking of that, yeah, that's interesting. I think my first time seeing with myself how 5G works, it was actually during Minggu Science Negara last year. So we had an open day on 5G, and I saw our 3D printer. So it was okay, we need to do this 3D printing overnight. So I think our partner at the time, they just 3D printed from home, and it started printing here. So I was like, whoa, you can just do that overnight, and it's super cool. You don't have to be there. You don't have to, plug things in. You can just, just go, just do it. Just tap, you're good to go. So speaking of that actually happened in what is now our 5G Experience Center. So I think that's coming to everyone. I think we have soft launched it, but we are going to mega launch it soon. So maybe, Mr. Muhu, you can tell everyone a bit on our 5G Experience Center, who it's for, what we're doing there, and how this can help accelerate 5G technology in Malaysia.
Sure, Mona. So it goes back to the MRANTI's mandate as well, right? So MRANTI's mandate to accelerate commercialization, and we want to support innovators, researchers, startups who are looking at emerging technology. So 5G, to me, I personally call it as a horizontal technology. It supports multiple sectors and multiple technological area. And so because MRANTI is in the space of emerging, we need to make 5G more tangible. People need to really see 5G, right?
Yeah.
You just look at 5G, you don't know whether you need 5G as an innovator, right? You may be working on certain prototypes, POCs that you think maybe higher bandwidth is important or better latency is important, but you don't really know. And where do you go and get this kind of information? So that's why then we decided that we need a sort of a tangible location where we can do a few things, right? So the 5G Experience Center is what it's called. Will be launched next week, actually.
Okay.
The whole idea is basically covering three main things. Number one is to provide advisory, right? Advisory for innovators, startups, and all that. in terms of the usage of 5G, right? That's really important. So when innovators come here, we provide them with the right advisory. The second one is in terms of the what we call awareness on 5G. Awareness on 5G is still, I would say, in its infancy, right, in terms of usage and all that. So that is what we're doing, collaborating with our partners such as Ericsson and the telcos and Digital National Berhad and all these different agencies to be able to tap into all the different expertise that they have. So we take the facilitator role, right, and build awareness on top of it. The third key thing is actually in terms of ensuring we have the right services at the park. So not just for the innovators, for the tenants as well.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we have the 5G connectivity on outdoor. We are also now working on a 5G indoor connectivity, which that's amazing part about 5G is not just wireless. You can also wire it,
Okay.
right? So and that is a big thing that's also coming up in the future, where even you sitting down here through a wired connectivity, you can enjoy 5G's speed. So basically, that's the whole purpose of the 5G Experience Center, and it is actually open to anyone by invitation, and you'll be able to see a lot of activities happening after the launch.
Okay. Yep. So I guess if anyone else wants to know more about the 5G Experience Center here in MRANTI, you just have to, keep an eye out on our social media, and we will be giving more information out there. Yes.
If I may add, in
Yeah.
terms of what Mr. Muhu mentioned about our collaboration, right? So I think we started doing this collaboration last year.
Yes.
And I think already today you have 5G network here in MRANTI.
Yeah.
And I think the work that we are doing in Malaysia is basically creating a 5G superhighway. I mentioned earlier that the network here in Malaysia is already world class. And if you
Yeah.
look at recent speed test result, it's already among top 5 in the world for both upload as well as download speed.
Nice.
And
Right.
Very nice.
That's right.
This
and
is a good-
MRANTI is the first tech park that was actually 5G enabled.
Yes.
There you go.
And I think that we have now a 5G superhighway. So when it comes to the work that we are doing with MRANTI is basically a good example on how can we foster new application to fill up the highway. Because I think we started with our own experience center back in 2019 with
Okay.
UTM Kuala Lumpur. Sorry, not 2019, 2016.
Okay.
So
Okay.
even earlier.
Right.
So this is in UTM Kuala Lumpur. The idea is to foster application testing and research.
Yes.
And of course, what we have now is that as 5G coverage has reached 62.1%, and later part of this year we will reach 80%. More use cases will be covered. More research part will
Yeah.
actually be covered by 5G. So how do we leverage on this?
Yeah.
How can
That's
we
true.
actually leverage on 5G to make Malaysia into a technology creator?
Right.
A lot of the times we just take new application from abroad. The work that you're doing, I think, is commendable. So this can be a first step to really transform to live from Malaysia as a digital
Yeah.
nation.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Muna, you could see that a lot of interesting stuffs are happening in MRANTI Park.
Yeah.
We've got autonomous vehicles, we have the drone,
Yeah.
centers being built, Area 57, 12 kilometers of autonomous vehicle
Yeah.
road and all this. So innovators are using this, and this is where 5G makes a difference, because 5G, one, is for industry, we know that, it's a lot more for that. Second, also, it supports all the different kinds of technology there, or prototyping of products that requires mobility. Right, that's really important, right? For example, autonomous vehicle.
Yeah.
For the vehicle to move, there are so many different sensors and equipments,
Yeah.
and the thing is, they're not stationary; they are moving, right? And so that adds more complication to the product. And this is where 5G makes a lot of sense. And you see so many of these activities already happening. 5G is just going to elevate this more for MRANTI Park, and as mentioned by Afrizal, when the country gets more access to 5G, there's a lot more things that can be done. But for innovators, you could already do that at the park. So that's interesting thing.
Yeah. So 5G never sleeps. All right. So you mentioned that we are at 61%, and we want to try to move towards 80% by the end of this year. So that's in 6 months. So of course there are some milestones that we do have to hit and achieve in order to get to that 80%. So currently, what are the major challenges, or maybe some challenges that industry players are letting us know about that they are facing So maybe we can highlight some of those things.
I guess, as I mentioned earlier, of course, when it comes to the work in terms of rolling out to achieve that 80%, that is something that we are working closely with our customer, Digital National Bahad, in collaboration with other relevant parties.
Okay.
Because to roll out 5G network, it requires a lot of collaboration. Our customers as well as different partners in the ecosystem, working with the city council and so on. So it requires coordination for different parts of the country. So I think that's something that I think we will work closely with them to address. But of course, I think, as I mentioned earlier, we have a big highway now. I guess there are some questions. So what do we do with the highway? So I think that's the kind of discussion that we are excited about. How do we start filling it out? Because I think if of course our main focus today is more about enterprise, but I think the opportunity for transformation is not just for enterprise; it's also for the consumer.
Yeah.
It can change the every parts of Malaysia, and even from how the government operates as well. So I think it's about how to leverage on that part. And of course, I think, of course, everybody is asking what's the killer application for 5G. I think before we answer that, I guess one of the way for us to reach that answer is to actually doing more collaboration. If we do it alone, we can only achieve so much, very little. When we work together, we can actually achieve much more.
Right.
So I think if academia, company like us, company like MRANTI, industry, government agency, and industry work together, I think we agree on the way forward. Then I think we can realize the full 5G potential in Malaysia.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in addition to that, the other thing that the industry is talking about is actually the cost of 5G. Right? At present, it seems to be, or it is on the higher side.
Okay.
Yeah, so for SMEs, for example, they are looking forward to see what is the business package, how is that being supported. But I would say this is probably as any new technology that comes in, when the usage increases, then competition is also being introduced. You will see a bit more of a balance, right, pricing. So I think that's one. Second is for businesses, for entrepreneurs and innovators, they need to understand how this technology is going to impact them from a business standpoint, right? It's not, technology is as important as its impact to the businesses, to the industry, right? Or to you and me. So the return of impact, right? Or we call it return of ideas, is not visible, then it's going to be difficult. So that's the other key challenges that we need to face. I think the government's doing a great job. We've got the right partners. MRANTI is also taking the leadership when it comes to 5G for businesses, primarily to support the innovators as well as all the businesses out there. So I think these two key things that I can highlight, which is actually a fact of the matter for today.
Yeah.
Maybe I would like to comment in terms of price. If we look at the price of 5G for Malaysia, for now, it's actually among the most affordable around the globe. So of course, I think I think that's one of the things that we can look into, because I think one of the approach that we have done so far is that to ensure that the 5G in Malaysia have lower cost and affordability. So I think that's one of the focus, and of course government is looking to maintain that as well. And of course one of the things that we see in Malaysia as well is faster time to market. Today we're targeting to reach that 80%. Of course, if we look at previous technology, how long it took to reach that 80%.
Exactly.
So the opportunity to benefit different parts of society, businesses, is tremendous with that.
So from an opportunity standpoint, right, I think it makes a lot of sense. So for example, like in agriculture, which I would say is one of the fast-moving trend now, right? Today, somebody was telling me that the makcik-pakcik in somewhere up north are already using drone technology, right? It's just that they don't call it drone. I don't know what else they call it. They say, oh, benda tu lah kan yang boleh terbang tu.
Benda terbang.
And what happened was that they know about it because actually they saw one of our social media And this person was saying, oh yeah, it's happening in Meranti. And then the makcik was saying that, yeah, kita orang pakai benda ni, we use this.
Very nice.
And she was like so surprised. Yeah, where do you use it? Oh, actually there was this guys who come in and they called all the farmers. These are small farmers. They got small plots of land, right? They say, okay, we provide service. All of you share. What they can do is they can basically spray some of the baja and all these things, right? Which helps them. Something that would have taken them a month, now they can do it within less than a week.
Yeah.
Right? And they collectively did it, and they're already being impacted with the technology. Now, what those drone services can provide only limited to a certain coverage for now, geographical coverage. With 5G, that coverage is going to be much, much wider, right? So big plantations can use them and all. So the economies of scale will make a lot of sense, a lot more, and that's where we will see the impact. Productivity will improve.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Huge impact actually. All right, so I think I do want to address one thing. Maybe it's because of people like me who don't quite understand the use of 5G before or even how it works. So we do get a lot of like comments, or I've read a lot on Twitter about Malaysia's 5G. You know, you mentioned, Mr. Afrizal, that it's actually world-class quality, and we are there already. But some people are like, oh, kenapa I tak ada 5G kat sini? Oh, kenapa? Like, you know, even in MRANTI Park, like the social media girl, I face this every day in our inbox and DM. So I'm like, what do I say? So, you know, like, is it because people don't quite understand how it works, or do they expect like 5G, boom, the whole world is covered in 5G, you know, like, so like maybe we can help those people out in understanding how it works and why not everywhere is 5G covered.
Yeah, of course it takes time to build up the network, but I think we are doing it together with our customer DMB at a fast rate. But I think for a person to enjoy 5G, it basically first you need a 5G handset.
Okay.
So that's the first requirement. But the good thing is that now the price of 5G handset is getting cheaper. I think you can get as cheap as around 800 ringgit.
Oh, nice.
The basic 5G handset. But of course, if you compare that with 4G, you can get it much cheaper. So first, you need the 5G device, and then you need the 5G service from the mobile service provider. So depending on who you use, then if they are offering that 5G service, then you can enjoy the 5G service.
Okay, that makes
and then,
sense.
And then, of course, is the 5G package, because I think for different operators, they don't offer it to everyone.
Okay.
So it depends on which package they are allowed to use.
Okay.
In terms of, you were saying about coverage. I live in Shah Alam, and the 5G that I'm getting at home is even faster than my fiber.
Oh, okay.
And when I travel to my wife's hometown in Kampar, I can enjoy 5G already.
Oh,
Nice.
One of my kids was studying in nearby Sungai Petani.
oh, okay.
I can use 5G there.
There we go.
And of course, when I go to Melaka, you get, so there's more places now that are covered with 5G. Of course, it's a matter of time before more places will be covered by 5G. But of course, you have to have the 5G handset.
Yeah.
You have to have the service from the service provider
And the connectivity.
and the right package.
Yeah. And so, just like any wireless connection, you're not going to get 100% coverage everywhere, right? There are certain limitations. Even at the park, for example, we are 5G enabled. Most of the places, most of the key locations are enabled. You can get 5G connection. But sometimes maybe in between buildings, certain locations, there will be some challenges if we are just focusing on the outdoor 5G connection. So this is one, for example, if you're in the building, then you need additional equipments that will basically beef up the connection, and then you can enjoy that better. So this is where the locations, like for example in Meranti, we are starting with a Meranti building. So Meranti building will have an indoor coverage as well.
Very
so
nice.
It's as good as outside, but it creates that kind of requirement. So then you will not have that kind of challenges where, oh, okay, how come I don't have 5G here and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, so for those who don't know, Mr. Muhu mentioned MRANTI building. So that's where our 5G Experience Center is actually located. So if you ever find yourself at MRANTI Park, please do come over to our MRANTI building or book a session with Mr. Muhu's team. I'm sure they're happy to have you guys here at the 5G Experience Center. All right, so I think we are chasing a bit of time here, but I love this so much. I've learned so much from you guys today. So I think maybe a few words from you guys to, those out there on embracing 5G, how we can move forward together, and, get educated basically on 5G. I swear I had like 5% knowledge on 5G coming in here today, and I was like sweating it last night. I was like, okay, I need to study 5G. And I was on my phone last night like, okay, what do I know about the 5G in the market? What do I know about 5G? But then I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit here with the OGs and I'm going to learn about it today. So what is some word of advice for those out there who, not exactly understand 5G just yet, and maybe don't even know that they may need it someday? So what are some word of advice for them?
I think for us, what we are doing, we are collaborating with different universities to encourage adoption and learnings of 5G. So we have a program called My 5G that we are, and I think we have onboarded multiple universities, and so far about 3,000 students have actually registered for the program. So it's a program that allows the students to learn anything from 5G to IoT and other digital application that they can leverage on to prepare them for the opportunity for 5G.
Right.
So I think another program that we have is in collaboration with MDEC, their Let's Learn Digital program, your former employee. Employer. So I think what we are doing with them is actually to have a same learning program for both students as well as workforce.
Okay.
Because again, we are building a 5G superhighway with our customer here in Malaysia. First, we need to increase the awareness for people to understand the full benefit of 5G. Once they fully understand, then they can actually create new things and tap on the capability of 5G. So I think my encouragement is to start learning more about 5G.
Agreed.
I think 5% is still a good start. We can increase, but then start collaborating to see what we can do with 5G. It can be for how to change consumer life. It can be for how to change the businesses. It can be about how to change society. So I think by learning, then we can start leveraging on it, and of course, to start collaborating more.
Yeah. So my knowledge just went from 5% to 20%. There we go.
Good. And by next week, when we launch our 5G Experience Center, it will go up much higher.
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. So, Mr. Muhu, what do we have here?
Yeah, okay. I mean, for the listeners, you may come from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
You could be just consumer using technology for a day-to-day basis. You could be a businessman leveraging in technology because you want to be first to market, right? You could be an innovator who's looking at innovation in terms of what else I can do to produce new, to make a reality of my new ideas that's coming out. So it goes back to the usage. I think that's really important. 5G is another technology, right, which is actually working at the back end, right, helping you and me. Sometimes we don't even know that that's 5G connectivity working for us. But what's more important is to be able to understand the opportunity that is coming from it, right? So with faster speed, what can we do, right? With bigger bandwidth, with much better latency. So for you and me, for example, our whole entire VR, AR experience is changing, right? So with the introduction of 5G, you'll be seeing a lot of these things coming in. Previously, you just go on Lazada and just look at the list of the equipments, things that you want to buy. In the future, you can use a VR goggle and just using your eyeballs and pick what you want. Or maybe with AI, the system will be able to tell you these are your recommended things for you to buy based on your daily lifestyle. So all this requires a lot of data exchange, right? It requires a lot of bigger bandwidth. And 5G probably be the one doing it for you at the back, right? So embrace it. And I would say be one of the first mover. If you know that certain things are coming out now, why not give it a shot, give it a try, right? And that's the best way to learn and benefit at the end of the day.
Very nice, very nice. All right, so I think I am going to conclude our session for today. So any last words from our OGs?
Oh, geez, well, it makes me feel so old. Yeah, I know I spoke about 1G, right?
The age is showing.
If I may, I think come to MRANTI Park.
Yeah.
And check our social media, check our website. You could also book online appointment to come
Okay.
to our 5G Experience Center,
Okay.
and then come and figure out 5G.
All right. So once we have launched next week, we will be opening up booking sessions on our website. So you guys can head over to maranti.my/5G. As simple as that and as fast as that. So with that, I would like to conclude our MRANTI Tidbits for today on 5G. So thank you to our guests, our OGs. They will forever now be the OGs. All right. Thank you. So until next time, let us know on our social media what you guys would like to hear about and who you would like us to feature next time. Until next time, see you guys.